Hello, students. I hope you are able to hear my voice. It's great to see all of you on Teachers' Day. If you are not in India, then this may sound a little bit um, different for you, but in India, we celebrate Teachers' Day on, I think, 5th of September. This is Radha Krishnan's birthday, if I'm not wrong. Um, anyway, so today I wanted to share with you a little bit about my one of my teachers, Professor Swadhin Pattanayak. He taught me mathematics in Institute of Mathematics and Applications when I was an undergraduate student there, and then he went on to help me reach my PhD goals as well. Like he inspired me to apply in the American universities. And to be very honest, I pursued PhD because he almost, you know, over phone. I mean, I graduated in 2014 from Institute of Mathematics and Applications, and then in 2015, uh, Professor Patnaik calls me. Like he was the director at my institute before that, so he called me one fine morning, and he said that, Oshani, what are you doing this year? So I said that, sir, I, I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. So he said, well, you should definitely go for PhD program, and you should definitely do it in United States. So I said, okay, I have not thought about it, but I'll definitely try. And then, long story short, I went ahead and started with my PhD program. Anyway, so I wanted to share with you a little bit more about Professor Patnaik and how he shaped the lives of thousands of students all across India, especially in Odisha, from where he is, and the kind of programs that he ran, and the kind of work that he did, and the output of that entire process. So, Professor Patnaik completed his PhD from Stony Brook University, which is one of the most prestigious universities in United States. I'm not sure about the timeline, but I think it is in mid 70s. And unlike many other people, he did not stay back in the United States. Instead, he came back to India. It was in 70s, so you can imagine India was a much poorer country at that time. But nevertheless, Professor Patnaik came back and he started teaching at Indian universities. For example, I think he first taught in Sambalpur. So in Sambalpur University, he taught for quite some time. And then he started dreaming about building a special institution for mathematical sciences. So he talked to other professors, he talked to the government, tried to gather funds, and I think in and around 2000s, he laid the foundations of this Institute of Mathematics and Applications. I think he was a director when I joined the institute as an undergraduate student. And by that time, the Tata Group had already funded the buildings of the institution, and also the Odisha government helped. Um, and by the time I met him, his dream was actually in place. Like it was visible and everything. But once I got to know him, I understood that he had a completely different vision about learning and mathematics and similar things. For example, he used to bring in students from remote parts of Odisha in our institute, and he would mentor them all through their high school and help them get into the bachelor's program. Many of these kids went on to do really well. Some they went on to do their masters and PhD programs. So you cannot even imagine how remote, maybe you can, but some of us cannot even imagine how remote those parts of Orissa are. For example, one of my friends was from Malkangiri. I think he was the first one to go to college from his entire region. So Dr. Professor Patnaik actually went to those remote parts of Orissa, and then he would find talent. He would select talent from there, and he would bring them back to the institute where he would mentor them. Mentoring means teaching mathematics, mentoring means guiding them through their academic processes, mentoring means food, shelter, all of those things. So it's a complete mentoring. It's not like, okay, you just go and read this book or something like that. It's not like that. So quite a few of my friends were like that. They were from the remotest parts of Odisha. There is another thing that Professor Patnaik did, which I was extremely it is very close to my heart even to this day, that he started rural mathematics competitions in Odisha to select talents. Now you know that sorry okay, yeah. So we know that the urban people in India are mostly involved in the mathematical Olympiads. I mean, if you go and check with the people who actually do well in the mathematical contests, you will see most of them are from the cities of India. So Professor Patnaik actually tried to build rural mathematics competitions in Odia language, which is a fantastic thing, I must say. I think this was never done before. So in Odia language, he built this, and I think even to this day, this is happening in many parts of Odisha, and it's a huge contribution to the Odia language as well, because interesting mathematics being taught in a particular vernacular language, that is really close to my heart. If it was in my control, I would actually have beautiful mathematics done in Bengali, in Marathi, in Tamil, in Urdu, in all the vernacular languages of India. um, every language has its own strengths. uh, we think about the strength of mathematics paired with the strength of the language, something beautiful would come out of the process. So this is obviously just a dream in my part, but Professor Patnaik actually did it. And and um, he wrote books on real analysis in Odia. I think the title of the book was Understanding Real Analysis. And I have read books on real analysis by real stalwarts like Terence Tao or even Rudin. Rudin is a very popular book, but Professor Patnaik's book is what is quite remarkable. I was actually quite astonished that that particular book did not get a lot of publicity, because many students can really benefit from that book. I still remember one of the classes on real analysis where he was explaining something called Heine-Borel theorem. Now, if you are doing undergraduate in mathematics, you know that that's a very central theorem to the properties of real numbers, or I would say the topology and the metric space properties of real numbers. So he was explaining the Heine-Borel theorem, and you would almost um, feel that he could see the theorem in action. He would explain it using analogy of carpets, and the way he would do it was almost strikingly beautiful. So I still remember that today, and that kind of imaginative communication in mathematics was found in his book uh, to this day. Now, there is another thing I remember, and this is a kind of interesting, that in real analysis, there are many rules to check convergence. This is a this happened quite a few times actually, that some of my friends would say, "Oh, he's not teaching, all these obscure uh, formulas to test convergence. You would just use two or three rules." But the point of the matter is that all the problems that we were trying could be done using those one or two things, all the convergence tests. And one of the founding principles of his teaching style was less is more. I'm sorry, I am using past tense. He's still here, but it's less is more. Less is more. I mean, if you can do something remarkable with a very small amount of tools, then why not do that? Why would you want to use 10,000 different tools? In fact, this is something that I have also found in the work of real geniuses like, let's say, Hilbert. Hilbert has a book called Geometry and Imagination. It's one of my favorite books. You can look it up in the internet, or buy it or whatever. It's You would see the principle of less is more in action there. Similarly, there is a book on geometric transformation by Yaglom, which also, talks about this less is more thing. I mean, it's quite remarkable that this sort of imaginative, almost philosophical, mathematical processes could be found in his communication and in his classes and his books. And very few students actually know about this. That actually kind of saddens me a bit. Even to this day, Professor Patnaik travels to different parts of Odisha. I'm sure outside Odisha as well. I'm not aware of all the details about his where he's going, but inside Odisha, I know that he often visits different parts of Odisha, and he conducts these math camps to identify talents. And what I also find quite remarkable is that his the discussions that I used to have with him is was not only mathematical in nature. They would also include politics. They would also include literature. They would also include other stuff. I mean, he was uh, deeply connected with the struggle of the working class of India, the farmers, the workers in the factories, and their emancipation, the emancipation of women. This sort of strongly political um, questions and discussions actually came into our discussions. I mean, I remember that I used to walk down the corridor of IMA, and we used to talk about all of these things, and mathematics, of course. But from Marx to Rabindranath, everything came into the discussion. And to be very honest, this depth of discussion, I could not find in many other places. I mean, there are some other places where I could find something similar, but this was also very remarkable that a teacher in mathematics would do this. So I just wanted to share with you all of these little nuggets about Professor Patnaik. If you are his student, if you have seen him, maybe you also know something about him as well. All that I am today, whatever I think, whatever I do, uh, I'm very fortunate. Personally, I'm very fortunate to have outstanding teachers who, made my success their business. So I was not that, I would say, worried about my success. But my teachers were. At least there are like three to four teachers that I can talk about. Professor James Clark from Arkansas. Maybe some other day I'll talk to you about him. Professor Chris Ruska from Milwaukee. Professor Patnaik, of course, and of course, my father, Dr. Prabir Dashgupta. So they all taught me whatever I know and whatever I do today. One of the things that we also try at Chinta, of course, we try to earn some money by teaching. because we have to eat. People have to eat, of course. But other than that, we also try to, be honest, and whatever amount of work we can do, we do that. And one of the reasons I think we are kind of forced in that direction is because our teachers did that over and over again. Anyway, thank you for watching today's video. This was just a short discussion, but I see a lot of comments here. I thank you everyone for wishing me Happy Teachers Day. I wish all of you a very motivated and happy life. After 15 years of teaching mathematical sciences to students, I think being motivated and being happy are really the two most important things, more important than Harvard, MIT, Olympiads, and all those things. At the end of the day, when you start your day, you have to feel motivated to solve a problem. Let's solve a beautiful problem today and feel happy about it, feel connected with the life around you. So I wish you that. Stay motivated, stay happy, and keep on doing good mathematics. Okay. All right. Take care. Bye. Thank you for watching. Bye.